My name is Lydia Jones Singh. I am a child welfare advanced specialist. I'm also a veteran. I retired from the Illinois Army National Guard with 23 years.
I'm Rachel Weisberg. I am a staff attorney at Equip for Equality. I graduated from Northwestern University School of Law in 2008 and the University of Michigan in 2003. And I've been at Equip for Equality as an attorney for about 3.5 years.
In September 2013, I was driving home from doing home visits with a couple of children on my caseload. I got into a car wreck. I totaled out my car. And in that process, I had injuries to my back and I had injuries to my wrist. Eventually, I ended up having surgery where I have a plate and pins in my left wrist. I do a lot of driving. I do a lot of typing. I am in court all the time. I am the life of the case. I mean, if the case lasts 3 years, then I am with that case for 3 years. There is bonds that I've formed with the families, with the children, and with the foster parent. And that's very rewarding. So.
We see all sorts of barriers that prevent people with disabilities from working. Sometimes it's because someone needs an accommodation and their employer isn't willing to provide it. But sometimes it's based on attitudinal or other sorts of barriers where it's based on perceptions and myths about people with disabilities.
The doctor released me to go back to work in November of 2014. The job would not allow me to come back because he had gave me restrictions. They told me I needed to fill out paperwork, a form called a reasonable accommodation, but I actually didn't need that because he said my restrictions would not hinder me from doing my job.
She was required to complete a reasonable accommodation form, which was very confusing to us because even though she was a person with a disability, she needed no reasonable accommodation.
The doctor filled out a statement telling them that those restrictions will not prohibit me from doing my job, and they still wouldn't allow me to come back to work. So in that process, I was talking also to a coworker, and she referred me to EFE. And she said she didn't know if they could help, but they had helped her in the past.
We decided to help Lydia behind the scenes with what we call self-advocacy assistance. We worked with Lydia to write a letter to her employer and explain that yes, she had these restrictions, but they did not prevent her in any way from doing her job.
Well, they still wouldn't allow me to go back.
That's when we knew we had to take things up a notch, and we decided to send a demand letter to her employer,
stating that if they did not allow me to come back to work, that she would file charges of discrimination. The very next day, I got a call from the personnel office telling me that I need to report back to work the next day at 8:30 in the morning.
Now it's been about a year, and I'm so happy to say that she's been working and it's been successful, and she's able to do the job that she loves, and her clients are lucky to have her.
I would say don't give up. I would say if you have a disability, to contact EFE.